Hey, welcome. I was gonna come back yesterday, but heck, it took a while to clean the place up. Anyway, I have to admit a mistake as well that I made and correct it off camera. It would have been too hard to do on camera. So I'm waiting for this stream to come up now, and let's see what's there we are. Okay. Make sure. Can you guys hear me? Okay. I hope. Anyway, I told you when we come back, this bench should be cleaned off. I could not operate anymore on this workbench. So what I'm going to do here, I think would probably be best. Well, first off, let me explain the mistakes I had to correct. Yesterday when I built this crutch, let me point it down here. Yesterday when I built this crutch, I built it too narrow, and I couldn't get the motor to fit down in it. I found some motor pads that I had. I had to really hog out the holes to use them, but at least I can use them for spacing until I can get my titanium pads in. So anyway, I had to take the crutch and I cut it apart. I cut the whole thing apart, remeasured, re-glued it, and got it to accept the engine, which is a pretty important part. So even I make mistakes, and I'm making more and more mistakes as I'm trying to do video instead of build. But that's all right. It's only wood. There's nothing that can't be overcome. I don't care what mistakes in the airplane. I know how to fix it. So, but the real object of this lesson is, if you make a mistake, don't don't carry on. Stop and fix the mistake before you go any farther. So now I'm going to. I had to cut new bulkheads. So now I'm going to glue in the. We're going to glue in the bulkheads, and then I'm not sure about this front one, so I think I'm going to hold off on that. But we're going to have to glue in this back one. So we'll get some 5-minute epoxy going. And yes, my concoction of 30-minute, 5 and 15-minute epoxy did harden, and it's just fine. So if you don't have the right stuff, don't worry. It's not that big a deal. Improvise, overcome, adapt. So let's mix this up. Get some hardener there. Before I get too carried away, I need to find the square. That's more than enough epoxy. But the only thing that's come about this lockdown that's any good is you can't go nowhere, so I got to do something. I'm bored. Got to build. So let's glue this. And remember, don't use, use plenty of glue, but don't use excess amounts of glue. And all the glue that smushes out, wipe it off. You're carrying around extra weight that you don't need. So we'll leave that there for 5 minutes, I guess. Whatever it's going to take. You guys make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Sharing the videos, like a little goober on there. Sharing the videos really helps. What that does is it gets more people interested in the art of model building. And trust me, it is an art. So we're going to put one more cross member in here before I put my 64th ply down. I should have had that ready before I mixed epoxy. Not thinking. Oh well. So let's cut up a piece. Just a scrap piece, a 1/2 inch. Now I know I had my miter box because I saw it. I had it in my hand. What did I do with it? Oh, this is aggravating. There it is. So to buy another Zona saw that's deep enough for this miter box because this one's getting dull. Where did it go? There it is. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing here. Yeah, it looks like it. Okay. Do we need to square up the ends a little bit? While the miter saw gets it close, I cut it oversized so that would be a perfect fit. We had a good crowd yesterday. A lot of hours watching. Now, teaching is reminding, learning is remembering. Okay, that fit in there perfectly. So let's clean this epoxy. Yep, we'll just use another one until that one's dry. If you wait for these things to dry, it'll pop right out. So our crutch is just about complete. I'm going to put in F1 after it's in the fuselage so I can decide whether I want just the 3/8 wide by 8 to bridge the front motor mounts, or I want a 3/8 by 2" or whatever it is up to the cowl brake to keep the cowl straight, which I might do. But in order to do that, because this is not a kit, it's kind of a prototype. You have to do things kind of in succession. So it's a trial and error. Hopefully not too many errors. First one's always the most difficult to do. If I decide to do another one of these, it'll be simple, because I'll already know what it's going to take. So we're going to put some more motor dampening blocks in it. What these blocks do, not only does it help them from compressing, it dampens the vibration. And we're going to transfer that vibration back to the wing. All my airplanes have the motor mounts attached to the wing. Remember yesterday when I did this, I measured to see how close my eyes were. We'll check it again when this dries. We'll see how close my eyes are. Yesterday I was within 10 thousandths. If it don't move, it should be there too. And as you can see, there are no marks on this crutch where I just decided to set that in there. Okay, now, everything I do is weighed. I know what the weights are supposed to be. And if I don't meet those weights, you have to do something different. So this particular part has to be 3 ounces or less. So let's see where we're at. 2.7 ounces. 275. So 2 3/4 ounces. We're a 1/4 ounce ahead of the game. That's good. And it's on the best end because this is where the weight's at, the concentrated weight. So there's no need to do any more hollowing. Of course, we're going to lose a little bit when I cut this line in here. This is where it attaches to the wing, on that line right there. So we're going to lose the hardwood there when I grind it out, but I decided that I would wait until I get it in the fuselage before grinding that away. It'll take, like I said, I don't have any tools here. On a belt sander, I could do that in 2 minutes. I go, and that'd be it. But here I got to do it with a Dremel, so I'm kind of stuck. All right, so we got that. The next thing I want to do is I want to cut some plywood sheeting to close that box up. I think I have 64th. It doesn't need to be much. Yeah, I do. $64th. This stuff is ridiculously expensive. Ridiculous. And now with this infusement of cash, it's going to even get worse. People aren't realizing what's going to happen. Okay. Yeah. We're starting to get loaded down with stuff already. I mean, without a space to work, it's tough. Okay. Move this. We'll cut us up a piece of 64th. Now this could be glued on with medium CA or thickset CA, but I'm going to go ahead and epoxy it on. Just a thin layer of epoxy. Split wood. Yeah, don't throw that away. We'll use it somewhere. You can bet on that. The end of this is off too. So we have to sand it square. I paid $50 for one sheet of that light ply one time. Of course, it has since went down, but $50. So now with all this inflation that's coming, it'll be $100. Okay, that fits perfect. We come up here. We need to come to this line right here. And all you guys that have been following along on this build, I've only been working, an hour or two a day on the thing, and I about have a whole airplane already. The finishing is what takes the most time. There we go. And unless you finish with dope, you don't have any idea what I'm talking about. Okay. Let's glue that on. See how nice that comes up and off there? Not a big deal. Thank you 3M for making such great containers for that. Let's get a razor blade and scrape that out though. It might have some residue in there. I hope you guys that are watching this are in your shop sanding. People ask me, how do you get such nice airplanes? Stand closer to the sandpaper for longer periods of time. The guys who have nice airplanes have learned, mastered the art of sanding. And it's a pain. Okay, we got that cleared out. Remember, we still got 1/4 ounce to go. Hopefully this won't add it, but we'll see. So I want to level this off, make sure that it's I want to make sure that it's level and free of debris. Okay. 7 watchers. Hopefully when I look over there, there's 7 thumbs up. Unless you guys are watching on your phone, and then I understand why you can't give a thumbs up, because you can't figure the phone out where the darn. Phones are tough to watch this stuff on. I can look back in the metrics and see who was watching from where and on what device. Man, I ain't got time for all that. I don't know why they got that in there. I guess to better analyze your audience. I have Google people contacting me. We can get you to the first page of the results of Google. Okay, great. It's only going to cost X amount. I don't need it. Yeah, you do. You got to have it. Nope, because anybody that knows anything about control line is already here, so I'm not selling nothing, so it doesn't much matter. I suppose I could title my videos and write descriptions and all that stuff. I just don't have the time. I don't know how them YouTubers find the time to do all that nonsense. I guess they're not working. Because when I wasn't working, the videos were better. It takes a lot of time. My Uncle Bob, World War II vet, he would always say, "It takes time." I never knew what the heck he was talking about. I do now. Everything takes time. Gotta call my dad again today. Make sure that the bug hasn't got him. Okay, we got plenty of epoxy on there. Yeah, get out the big clamps. Oh, I didn't measure. That doesn't much matter. I know it's close. These things from Harbor Freight are the handiest little clamps. I think it's about $5 for a bucket of them. I got two. Well, I got 2 buckets here, but I got 3 buckets at home. They come in a. Let's see how much they were. It doesn't say. You get 1" and 3/8 clamps. 22 pieces in this bucket for about $5. Handy things. Let's see what the chatter's got to say here. I guess you wanted me to move the mic closer to my mouth. Is that what you said? Okay. Hey, Chris Perkins. Thanks, Terry. No problem. Let me see. I can turn that up too. I just don't want to clip the microphone, because I can see the red spiking. Anyway, it'll be 5 minutes before those are dry. We'll weigh it again. Make sure that we're under our 3-ounce limit, which, if we're not, it'll be so close that I'll use it anyway. But as I told you, I knew what that was supposed to weigh. It was supposed to weigh 3 ounces. No more than 3. So, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out where this intersects the wing hole. And I got to plug that hole. I got to see if I can find some 1/8 inch. I think I might have a small piece of 1/8 inch in this box. It's probably rock wood, but let's see here. Nope, it ain't rock wood, but that's okay. So, we're going to take my plug. Make sure you can see what I'm doing here. This is my plug for the wing. I'm going to cut 2 quarter ribs. Isn't that something? I guess the way to do it be like that. Now these don't have to be absolutely perfect because we're going to cut them off when they're inside the airplane. So first thing to do is square this up. Is the audio better now, guys? Can you hear me better? This is part of the system. I mean, I've done it a million times, but I should have been paying attention when I cut the fuselage sides, and that was my last bit of 48-inch contest wood. So I have 2 more pieces of 1/8 over there. They're 35 grams. And, I could cut some more, but I think this is probably the better solution. The way that my fuselage sides are cut right now, they're for a conventional style build. But I forgot that the XL was an unconventional build. Let's see, are we dry yet? Are we there yet? Yeah, we're there because it's just about glued on there. And if you see these holes and they look narfed up, it's because they are. Those motor pads were for LA46, and I just put them on here and had to narf the holes to make them big enough to fit Super Tiger 60. They're strictly there for a spacing operation. It'll get my titanium motor pads when I can get back over to John's and machine them. Okay. First and foremost, important thing, how much does it weigh? $2.95. We're under the allotted weight, so that's a good thing. Well, it's only a couple of grams, but better than being 4 ounces. Now, if you're in a place where you have a saw, you can cut little notches in this. Let's see, we got somebody talking. Happy Easter. Oh, thanks, Terry. The measurements: 16.25-inch tail moment, 11.5-inch root, and a 10.5-inch nose. Or 10.25, better make sure. However, yes, the nose, no, 10.5-inch nose, but the motor is set back 3/4 of an inch. So you take 3/4 off that, and that's what the true nose moment is. People say 16.25. That's right. Hell with them large marges. 17.25, 18, 20. They take too long to go around the corner. Well, you got more power. No, that's not how it works. Nobody can build an airplane light enough for a 22-inch tail. You'd have to weigh 40 ounces. Okay. Crutch is complete and does work and ready to go in the airplane. So now let's go back to the other pieces I was working on. There's the completed crutch. Like I say, we'll make a decision on the height of this F1 after it's in the airplane, which is not a big deal. I don't like that. It's sticking up still. Now, if you have access to a bandsaw, once you're in this state, or you could do it before, you can come by every 1/4 inch and cut a slice, just ever so slightly, like not even a 1/16 down, a 32nd of an inch down every 1/4 inch. What that does is give you more gluing area. Or you could take a drill and stipple some holes in there, which I might do. That gives you a little more glue area. And because I don't have any 30-minute epoxy or 15 or whatever, I only have 5. I'm going to have to do this one side at a time. We'll see how that works out. But remember, adapt, overcome, improvise. And I wasn't a Marine. Navy. Go Navy. All right. So now we have these 1/4 ribs. You say, well, what the heck do I need those for? Well, I'll show you. This will fit in there very similar to that, so I got excited when I cut the doublers, and I cut these out of the doublers. So now I have to fiddle fart around and get these to fit in perfectly. Otherwise, we'll be leaking fuel into the wing. Which is not a big deal. We'll get this no problem. I was watching a YouTube video about a guy flush welding a patch. I guess he's been watching my videos because he does it exactly the same way I do wood. I said, hey man, that guy's copied my idea. Okay. I've already marked on this fuselage side where the motor mount goes, so I can get a good idea of where this needs to be. And how much of that to cut off. So we'll do that right now. So that gets cut off there. We're going to have to hopefully put a new blade in this so that it cuts wood good. leave the line on. We can always sand it off. You notice I'm doing one of these at a time. I'm not making both pieces up the same because they're not. They're not going to be exactly the same. Even if you cut it the same, they won't be the same. So we'll put that in here, CA it, and block sand it off. And these caps are stuck on there again. Now this offers no structural integrity. This is only to keep the fuel from, in case there's a rupture in the tank, from going inside the wing. And of course this will all be sealed off with Z-epoxy, so that doesn't matter. But we want it to look as nice as possible, so we're going to sand that flat. Throw a little CA into that groove to use the dust as a filler. To get that rock off of there. Close enough. Okay, that one's ready to go. You can't do that. Okay. Everybody see what that's all about now? That blocked off the front part of the wing because, like I said, we're going to notch the wing and it fits together like the old Lincoln logs, the way that I do it. So hopefully that makes sense. Now I did find a good piece of lumber. Was it wide enough? Nope. Isn't that the way it always is? Got a nice nose block piece. Super light, weighs nothing, like liquid air. And it won't fit. Darn. Okay, you're about ready to swap everything over. After I get this other side done, we'll put the fuselage together. So then I'll have 3 1/4 of my major components done. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, Jack, it's the 5-minute epoxy. It works fine. It just doesn't give you enough. You gotta hustle. You can't be dicking around waiting for stuff. You better have it in the right spot when you start. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing here. We need to make this fit perfect in that hole. Darn, I broke it. Cut a new one. I didn't say life was easy. Could you glue it back together? Yeah, probably. But you really want a chance. Fuel going in the wing in case something happens. Of course, that's really on the outside. I've never seen it happen. I assume that the airplane would fly just fine and be structurally sound with that open. But you just never know. I do know that by doing it the way that I'm doing it, the way that I've done it for years, oh, I still need to put some stringers on this. Now, I've never built this model this big, but I know how the Tucker was done, and I know the concept behind it. So, it has stringers on it so that you can round the fuselage some more, and we're going to do the same thing on this. Instead of 1/8-inch stringers, I'll use 3/32, so because I don't see that I cut that far into those 1/8 inches on that first model. Man. Okay, got it fits perfect. Let's compare it to the other side to make sure it's long enough. God, I hope so. Yep. We're in there. We can cut the rest off after the crutch is glued together. Okay. So you watch me sand it right there. It's a perfect fit. Perfect. I mean, you can't get it any tighter than that. I see all these guys. Perfect fit joints. God, it's within a 1/4 inch. Give me a break. I need a snorkel on this. I'm tired of too much glue coming out. Sorry, no fanfare, dancing girls, or rock and roll, but YouTube just don't allow me to do it. Man, what's it gonna take here? There it is. Okay. Hopefully, it won't stick it to the bench, because I'm not gonna. Well, I got this wax paper here. I wadded up. I could use that. I got more, but I'm too lazy to walk over there and get it. When in doubt, whip it out. Got me a rock and roll band. Okay. All right. Yow! Boy, that got hot quick. Okay. Little comedy relief there. I use CA all the time at work to glue myself back together. I glued my thumbnail on. I don't know if you guys saw that. I don't. It had been a couple of summers ago, just before the Nats. I was helping John with his K77. That thing flipped back and split my thumbnail wide open. And I thought, oh man, I'm going to lose a thumbnail. I'm not going to be able to do nothing. So I glued it back together. And within 3 weeks, it fell off and I had a new nail underneath. Had to use kicker on that though. It didn't want to kick off. Okay, now we have our compartment in good shape. So I need to mark that other one. Why did that come apart like that? Oh man. I've made a mistake again because I'm trying to do these stupid videos. It's on the wrong darn side. So I gotta tear it out, do it again. Oh well, good practice. Try again. Doesn't hurt anything, it just kills time. Any one of you guys that's laughing and thinks that this is easy, I want you to try to build something and talk at the same time. It's a distraction. Okay, try again. Yeah, that thing fit perfect over there too. Oh well. Okay, we're back to square one. So long as I'm working on this, I might as well go ahead and put the stringers on it now. We're going to use the original Tucker had eighths. Let's see what this wood weighs. If this is light wood, I'll go ahead and use eighth, but it's got to be super light. It's 45. It's a half an ounce. Let's see, mode. It's 13 grams for a half a sheet. That's way too much. So I need to see if I can find a piece in my secret stash that's much lighter. Let's see, that's 19, 17, 21, 18. Oh boy. Let's see, how about this? This was 15, so that was a relatively good piece. and it's long enough. Okay, good enough. That's what we're going to use. So we'll get the stripper, which is where. So we're back to this piling up of the table because there's no place to work. You can't set anything down anywhere. Remember, guys, this started out as a completely clean workbench. Before I'm done, it'll be a pile again. There's just no other way to do it. Okay, we need the stripper. What did I do with it? There they are. Okay, we're going to cut all the stringers to the width of that. And you say, why the width of that? Because I know darn well that 1/8 by half wasn't used up in that other tucker. It was just there carrying around extra wood. Normally I wouldn't even put these on, but the reason being is that the construction's so much different than I'm normally used to doing that we'll go ahead and do this in the big one. And I'll show you on the plans what I'm talking about. The plans for the classic tucker. Okay, our stringers are going to be longerons. They're not stringers, they're longerons. They're going to be this long or this wide. Going to be that wide, and they're only going to be 3/32 instead of 1/8 inch. Need 5 pieces of that. So we're not adding a whole lot of weight to it. And the only reason why these are here is glue surface for the top and bottom. I think I'm going to make mold bucks and mold both top and bottom. For the simple fact I don't have any 2-pound blocks. But we'll see. I'm still going to have to carve a block of sort to get the shape. Alright, so that was an easy decision to make. Remember I told you when we're building these it's all about choices. So I've already laid the tail moment out. And I know the width of the stab. So I don't want to really... Yep, 16 1/4 the tail moment. Minus 4. It's 14 1/4. Excuse me. 12 1/4. So that's where the longeron is going to stop, right there. So we're going to make 2 of these for the top. This is also very similar to the way that the SV11 is built with the longerons. I don't think they need them, but I'm going to put them in just because I think I might need to round over them. And you need to have some wood to glue to. So we'll go ahead and do that. Of course, that's going to change the ease of bulkhead making. Thing's slippery. Woo! CA. Gag me. Come on. Cut this in half. It's too much. There, now I can steer it. We're looking for a fuselage around 7 ounces. I'm probably going to need another one of those. And I'm going to have to set back about a half an inch for the tail post, which I don't know how wide that has to be yet. Close enough. Remember, we're not building watches, we're only building airplanes. Perfect is nice, but how much is, perfect? What does that mean? This thing here's got a whoop in it. I'm going to cut that out of there. So you guys enjoy the live format so that you can laugh at me, or what? Leave it set back 3/8 because we got them hinges that are going in there. Well, I better sit down and CAD draw this. By the time I would be done CAD drawing, I'd have the thing built. Okay, let's glue this. But if that's what you guys like to do, we got some guys on the forum that want to pi r radius square everything to death. starting to pick up some heft. Let's see what it all weighs so far. I mean, I'm kind of committed. $28 ounces. Oh. Yeah, we're within the realm. We're at 5 1/4 with all this garbajola here. 5 1/4, 6 1/4, 7 1/4. That's what it's going to be. 7 1/4. You can figure that the top block is going to be 1.25 ounces and the bottom's going to be 1 ounce. Just the way it is. So I will fall within my 7-ounce maximum guidelines. And then there again, it's can you keep the finish light? Because that's the single heaviest thing next to the engine. Single thing next to the engine on the airplane. And there ain't no way around it. So let's mark off for the tail moment here. You notice this one's ahead of this one. That's because I haven't marked it or whatever, but we'll mark the tail moment. That's where the stab goes. Let's see if anybody said anything here. Come on this late. I hear you say that you were Navy. Yes, I was a Navy. 90 to 95. Well, I wasn't in 95. I was there 20 years earlier. CB-64 was the ship, but I was in VF-211 aircraft squadron. Some 40 some years ago now. I'm gonna get a soda, guys. I only have one picture left of that time, and then there's a few pictures on the internet of work I've done, but I only have one picture of me of that time. Dummy. When I got out, the sea bag went in the trash. Everything. I just was a rebellious character. Peacoat went in the trash. Boondockers, jumpers, everything. I wanted no more part of that, and I wish the heck I wouldn't have done that. But young and stupid. And now, Sean McEntee, which I knew when he was a little kid, is now almost ready to retire out of the Army. I think it's great. Go Sean. I remember him when he first started flying. And now he's ready to get out of the Army, I guess. I don't know. My, how time flies when you're doing nothing. Mike the other night was mentioning that when I gave Samuel, his son, a ringmaster, flight streak trainer. Was it flight? I can't remember. Flight streak trainer. Yeah, that's what it was. He was 5 years old when I first saw him on YouTube. I didn't know those guys. I saw him on YouTube, and his mom was yelling, "Go, Sam, go!" And he was flying by himself at 5 years old with this big airplane. I thought, wow, this is great. This kid will go on. So if he gets a little encouragement, so I sent him the flight streak trainer, and I was ostensibly known as the man from the computer thereafter. So it was funny. So now he's 11, 6 years later, which in another 6 years, which will go by like 10 minutes unless we have problems, he'll be a teenager, and hopefully he'll continue to fly. Because most people, when they get cars and girls and boys or whatever, they give it up. This just takes entirely too much time and effort for the reward. There's no money in this. There's no fame in it. It's just, to me, it's just enjoyment. Yep. You too can be a millionaire at this hobby if you start out with 5. Oh, I'm getting stuck there. Does it need those longerons? I've built them with them, and I built them without them. I don't know on this one. But they're there just in case. They're basically half of what they usually are, but we don't care. We'll do it our way, my way, whatever. Back it up 3/8. Glue it down. Gonna have to move that wing over onto this bench here and draw my sticky and draw my lines for the jig, for the fuselage jig. Because I'll be damned if I'm going to build a banana. I had to entitle this series, How You Too Can Build an Airplane in the Motel. Okay. I think that's going to be enough on the tail post. 3/16 or 3/32 and 3/32 is 3/16 plus 2/8, 3/16. Yeah, that should be enough. Gonna be like 3/8, almost 3/8 across. More than 3/8. Okay, we got our fuselage sides completed. About time. Okay, they're marked for motor mount ends. Here, we're gonna move things around here so that I can glue this stuff together on my white table. I'll set this here until I can get everything moved around. Bell crank, elevator stabilizer. Put this over here. Darn! Drop the bolts on the floor. Okay. Got them. Okay. That's a Brian Gardner ABC 60. He didn't build it, but that's his liner, so. So we'll just set this on the couch. Yeah. Okay. This is just it's a 48-inch by 15 3/4 melamite all-purpose shelf from Lowe's. I think that's how you say it, melamite, whatever. It's not perfectly straight or, level. I don't believe it. I mean, it's close. Actually, it's real close. But that's not what we're using it for anyway. We're using it for direction. So the actual incidence and everything will be set up on a piece of glass. Which I've shown dozens of times. I'm just kind of getting this ready so that when I glue my triangles on it or whatever, now remember, the reason I'm doing this airplane is so that it flies the same as my Junar XL. So it's basically the same airplane with a different dress. So in order to be that, and will it fly exactly the same? No. But hopefully it'll be close enough that I won't be disappointed. So we said 15 and 3/4. We'll just make it at 7 and 3/4. That's close enough. Now, let's see. 7.5 and 15. 7 and 5/8. It's not that critical. I could make it crooked. It don't matter as long as the line's straight. At home, I got a 7-foot straight rule, straight edge. That's what I would use for this. Actually, it's 72 inches. 6 foot. Okay, that's close enough. So now, I'm gonna have to go through the rigmarole of marking and measuring all this stuff now too. So did that answer your question, Eddie? About what time I was in the Navy? Long time ago. Okay. We are at almost 2.5 inches wide. It's 200 or 2 and 245 wide. 2 and 240. No, 2 and 240. So it's gonna be 120. 2 and 240. 2, 240. Be 120. 1 and 120. 1. And you'll say, and believe me, this measurement I'm doing here, it doesn't have to be this exact. It just doesn't. But it's nice to try. So the width of the pen is about 5/1000. Yep. What I'm doing here is I'm giving myself somewhere to put that line. So there's the line, and there's the line. That should be absolutely perfect. Should be. I'm going to have to open the door up here, guys. For some reason, it's hotter than heck in here. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty warm outside, actually. I don't want to turn the air conditioner on. Ain't no need in that. Open the door. Okay. So now, we're going to glue these onto this mess. Let me get my Tommy Looper Clark Gable guy out of the way. And I'm just going to check for accuracy now. We'll kind of clamp it together and check it for accuracy. Make sure that my jabber, I don't want to make a mistake on this because I can't fix this mistake. It would be a hard fix. Have to start over. Okie dokie. Pretty close. Not really. So what are we doing here? What is the difference, Larry? It's hard to believe what just a pen width will do. Okay. It's looking more or less copacetic. Okay, now I gotta cut my triangles. If you guys have ever watched my other videos, I always cut little triangle blocks to hold things. Let's see. Seabees. Hey, right. Got out in 78. Yep, different times. You're about there about the same time I was, Jack. I think I was a little ahead of you. All right, we got to cut some triangles. We're gonna find some scrap wood that's rock wood. Okay. My favorite times talking about the Navy is when I'm at a contest with Danny. Danny did the same job I did on the same airplane I worked on. Only, I guess, probably 20 years or 10, at least 10 years after I did. Okay, we got some scrap. We got a scrap piece of. Look at this. We got a scrap piece of Tucker Special fuselage. So I might as well use the Tucker Special fuselage for this the scrap to make some triangles. What a fitting thing to do. So I'm over on the other bench now. I'll turn the camera. I mean, there's no need for you to see me cutting triangles, but we'll give you a little something to look at besides the workbench while I do this. We're just going to cut up some triangles. God, I hope the doctors don't have to use these blades on me if they ever have to work on me. These things are junk. Got 3 cuts and they're dull. Of course, I guess skin is a little bit easier on the blade, but man. Let's see where they're made. Korea! Must be made in Korea. Doesn't say. Just says Race International Corp, Miami Lakes, Florida. Hencho and Chino, California. Sterilized by gamma radiation. Wow. So my plane doesn't get infected. Wow. Means I put a pot of boiling water on the stove. It said, there you go. Okay, there's one. Make sure it's square. That's pretty good. Make another one. We'll just get 2 cut and start setting the jig up. Because I still have to measure for bulkheads. And he said, what do you mean? Well, the fuselage on the Junar stays pretty wide all the way till the aft of the wing. So I got to figure that out. Okay, let's check it. Good. Close enough. Close enough for hand grenades and limited nuclear warheads. Okay, 2 and 2. I think I'll probably just show this setup and then take a break. Now I can stay online or maybe come back later. I don't know. Okay, we're back to the layout bench. Those center lines that I made earlier need to match up to the line I put on the layout table. Okay. Okay, so that's the crutch part is centered up in the correct location. Right on the line, right on the line. But if you come back here, it doesn't quite match. So we're going to have to make the bulkheads first. Do the center lines. Let's see, I need to make sure that's going to be wide enough for the rudder. So here's my rudder. Well, where did it go? Oh man, I hate this. Oh man, come on. Can't never find nothing because there's just no place to put. I hate it. Aggravating. Ouch. Cut myself. Well, my sub rudder disappeared. I know I had it because I Just had it here. I need my subrudder to get an idea of where the tail's at. Because it looks wide enough, but I got to make sure that it's wide enough. Oh, there's the subrudder on the couch. Okay, so that the subrudder sticks back approximately 4 inches behind this. Right there on that line. We're going to have to add a 16th in on the tail post. So, I need to figure that out. Sixteenth on the tail post so that it's wide enough for the subrudder. Now where's my little square? Here it is. Need a bigger square. You can't just start gluing pieces of wood together willy-nilly. You gotta kind of think this through. Of course, if I was Paul Walker or Brett Buck or even John Miller, you'd probably have it all drawn out and figured out and all that stuff. Well, that's exact. Why is it not exact in the back? It's off like 1/16 of an inch. I guess it's alright. So, clamp them together and start figuring the numbers out. Let's see, we got some typers. Hi, Richard. Okay. So now I'm going to sight down here. I got to get on the other side of the camera and sight down there. Make sure that it's straight, not a banana, which it is. Now we're going to, here again, I'm not a guy that puts in a bulkhead every inch like somebody we know. I only use 1, 2, 3. That's it. That's all you need. Especially now I got the longerons in there. I mean, that's way more overkill than I ever build. Usually it's a couple of pieces of 16th and forget it. Let's see, I need to mark that so I can cut it. This is truly, this is how I design my airplanes. By eye. Okay, so we're going to take that out and we're going to cut that before I go any farther. This will all get Z-epoxied in here. So if you notice this piece that I scabbed in there, like I say, that closes off the wing. The wing's notched back 1.5 inches, so that the back of the tank fits into the leading edge of the wing. I can't tell you how much difference that makes. Man, that makes a big difference. That and buying them 200 million yen fuel tanks from Kazminato, which works out to $100. Fuel tank for this airplane, $100. I got to get a hold of him and get it coming. Can't believe it. These blades are dull. What has happened to things in life? The blades aren't sharp anymore. The thinner doesn't work. The primer's no good. Too many knucklehead tree huggers. Okay, we have that part now. So put that back and we'll start figuring out the width of the bulkheads that I need. I think I'm going to put a stop on this too up here. When we get ready to glue this together, I won't have to think. I'll just have to stick it in and go. Okay, so now I'll make a couple of stops for there, which is not a big deal, just a couple little blocks of wood. Because once I start this, I'm not going to be able to thimble around. It's going to have to go together and that's it. Because I don't have any 30-minute epoxy, I only have 5-minute. Okay. Now I need a couple more squares. They don't have to be as robust as them front ones, so we'll just use some small ones. Are you guys getting anything out of this? I've been on 2 hours now. Because if you're not, let me know now. Now, Tom Morris sells a jig. Now it's probably Oki Air, but I think Tom Morris is still making them. It's a real nice, fancy hardwood jig that has sliders in it that's adjustable. I'd love to have one of them. I could make one. But for the amount of time, the times that you do this particular operation, I can't justify paying that kind of money or taking that time to make one. Quite interesting and innovative. Oh, informative. Thanks, Jack. Yeah, I don't see the necessary need to make one when you can go and get this piece of lumber or this piece of wood at Lowe's or Home Depot, and this thing cost about $9. Yeah, and you can reuse it because I'll take a razor blade and scrape all the stuff off and then turn it whatever. I mean, it's got two sides. You're going to get at least two airplanes out of $9. Come on, guys, don't be so damn cheap. Yep, that'll be good right there. Okay. So hopefully you get an idea of how I'm doing things. Let me get this up here. That's the jig layout. It's real simple. Straight line, center line on the crutch. Pull it together, stop it, square it at the front. Make sure that the fuselage is equal across the nose. Bring the tail back to center line equal. Don't glue it yet. You got to do that because you still can move this fuselage this way or this way with the bulkheads that you're going to put in. So I needed to do this to figure out what my width of the bulkheads are. So I'll measure the width here, measure the width here, and measure the width here. Cut those bulkheads, put the center lines on them. Basically, drop them in and center them up on that, and then put some more triangles on there to make sure that everything's held to that center line. Otherwise, you end up with a fuselage that goes around the corner like that. As you can see in here, this was the blocking off of the hole, so we got some more questions here, comments. Late again. We'll watch from the beginning later. Okay, Dennis. No problem. I'll be on for a while yet, it looks like. They want to see it, so I'm going to drink some soda here. If you got any questions, ask them now while I'm sitting on the couch for a few minutes taking a break. We're kind of at intermission. I got to move this wing up on the bench. For you guys that think this is easy, I want you to start talking now to nobody about nothing for the next 2 hours and see how you do. Because these video live streams that I do are not scripted, 100% off the cuff. It's just what I'm doing when I'm doing it. Man, my soda's way over there. Darn. Sat down, and the soda's across the room. Shoot. So give me a couple of minutes. If you got any questions, type them in now, and I'll answer them. Happy Easter. What are the measures for exercise? I already answered that one. I've been using 5 minute for a long time. Answered that one. What do you do to your prop extensions? Which one? Well, which brand is better? We make ours. We make our own. Jim Lee makes them. They're $25. Finest machining going. So Jim Lee, he's on the forum. You could find him, Jim Lee Machine. Talked about the Navy already. Jack was in the Navy, Seabees. Went on a ship once, got in trouble for quarterdeck thingy. Yeah, he's supposed to stop and ask permission to come on the quarterdeck. It certainly was different. You were in the times of Z-grams, Jack. Admiral Zumwalt was the admiral. Race relations and Z-grams. Quite interesting and informative. 2 thumbs up. Thank you. And late again. Dennis, if you have anybody have any questions, ask them now, because I'm sitting on the couch watching the screen drinking a soda. I just noticed that. You guys can see the screw handle for that thing on there. Huh. Let me see if I can find you something to watch while we're taking a break. Let's see, we'll add, I think I got some video that I shot. Add a browser, display capture. Yeah, we're going to have to open them up. Okay, so we go here, search, WMV, or MP4. MP, that's intro clip. Tucker covering. Okay. That's what that is. Okay. Stop. Tucker covering. Let's play this. I'm going to I've been using tauntauning dope, Eddie, but I've also found that non-tauntauning is just as well. So either one, but you want to use butyrate. Don't use nitrate. Nitrate is a different formula. It's uses MEK, and I don't know, the thinner's different, so on and so forth. It's just a different animal. So if you're going to use butyrate, stick with butyrate. Let's see, have you ever thought of doing a plane with just clear to save weight and show your woodwork? Of course, and I've done them. But you're not going to get scored like you need to be scored. You know, there's guys that get scored, but the airplanes, you know, there's all kind of funny things going on. Let's do this. Add a window capture. And add a window cap. I got some. long as I'm sitting here on the couch taking a break, we might as well display capture. Let's see. Okay. No. Cancel. Remove. I want to do a source. Yes, remove it. Add media source. Video capture. Window capture. There we are. No, we don't want that. We want that. No, not Netflix. Oh boy. Match the title. No, cancel. We're going to get rid of that one. Video capture. It's so hard to figure this stuff out because I don't do it often enough. Let's try media capture. I thought for sure it'd be window capture. Let's try that. Window capture. Add. Remove. Yes. Add. Yeah, I'm still looking at for questions, guys. Window capture. Okay. Why is that doing that? Nope, that's not what I want. I can't figure it out. Window match priority. Nope, cancel. Oh well, we're not going to get that. I'm going to have to sit down and figure out how to do that before I start broadcasting some kind of crazy thing on there. So I wanted to show you this one video I shot. I don't think I've uploaded it. It's got to be media source. Okay. There we are. No. Well, I can add something from there. Videos. Let's try videos. Oh, you guys seen this? We'll go with this. Open. Except it ain't gonna go. What is the deal? Oh well. I can't figure it out. So, about ready to go back to work anyway. Okay, guys, we'll run this another 45 minutes. That will be a 3-hour sleepathon. And then I'll work by myself and maybe come back with an update. I don't know. But I do want to move this for you. I'll move this down out of the way. Okay. Took a break and still kept talking. All right, so now I'm going to take my calipers And I'm going to measure my other Junar. How wide is it at the trailing edge? And that's the only measurement I really need to take off of that airplane. Because, believe it or not, that's part of the thing that makes this airplane fly well, is the width of the fuselage all the way back. So we have approximately the same width as the... Yep. It is... This one's a little bit wider. About a 16th wider. Oh, because it's not sanded. Duh. So. Two and 275 thousandths. So, I've seen guys make bulkheads out of 1/8 inch. No need for it. I've seen guys make bulkheads sticks. That works. But we're going to make bulkheads out of the lightest wood we got, which is probably 1/16. Because there's no need for big strength. And I'll show you how to get around that. So what do we got here? We got, that's too heavy. Too heavy. Why is this stuff so darn heavy? I'm going to have to turn the air conditioner on. It's hotter than heck in here. Let's see here. Here we go. Yeah, it's a relatively stout piece. 1/16 inch. Just behind the trailing edge, or it's actually just behind the hinge, because remember the hinges that I use stick out 3/8 of an inch, so 3/8 of an inch right there, and we got this width right here. Let's sand that up and make a nice edge. Sorry about the intermission, guys. I can't. I find it very hard to sit and talk for 3 hours to nobody. Okay, our first bulkhead is that wide. Make these square. If you don't, the fuselage is leaning. That blade's dull already. Unbelievable. Yeah, we could buy some cheap Chinese junk. Lasts about 3 strokes. When I was a kid, it was always Jap crap. It was always Japanese stuff was no good. By far, Japanese stuff is super. They bombed us at Pearl Harbor. We bombed them at Nagasaki and Hiroshima, but they bombed us back with radios, television, electronics. They're by far the winner. Okay, we got to cut the notches for the longerons. Just grab a longeron and make some marks. Quality work at this stage of the game really pays off in the finish. So, if you don't know how to do something, ask somebody. If you know how to do something but you don't know how to do it well enough and you're building a pro stunner, practice on something else. You don't want to put your best, you want to put your best effort in everything, but you don't want to put all your time into something, and because you didn't know how to do it and didn't ask somebody, it comes out horrid. You'll regret it. The only stupid question is the one that you don't ask, because it'll cost you lots of money. And if you're okay with that, and you're stubborn, and you think you know everything, which you don't, oh, we got a problem. I should have cut it to height first. Okay. It's right there. There's just too much stuff in the world for one person to know everything, Brett. And give me practical experience any day of the week over book learning. Let me give you a scenario. If you have a heart attack or whatever, some type of major problem, and there's a guy who's a doctor, got his license, he's book learned everything, or yeah, he's book, but never done the procedure. Or would you rather have some old dude that's doesn't have didn't go to the same school, doesn't have all the credentials, but done that procedure 200 times? Who would you rather have working on you? I think that's a no-brainer. I'm trying to make these fit as perfect as possible. What is the reason for that? Glue, my boy, glue. Less glue means less weight. Okay. Now, normally when I'm at home, I've already figured it out and laid out where each bulkhead's going to go and drawn a line across it. Well, I'm not going to worry about that this time. I'm just going to eyeball it as I've shown in the past. My eyeballs are within 10,000, so if 10,000 is going to make the airplane fly crooked, I guess all my airplanes fly crooked. So now you want to split the difference in that, make a mark. So 1 and 290, 289, so we'll say 290, so that's 145. 1 and 145. 145. That should be halfway right there. So you just make a little tick mark on that, and that goes on the center line. And then we're going to cut two 40, triangles that go right here to hold that on the center line. And I'm going to do this all the way up and down this fuselage dry. And then I'm going to glue it. I wish I had slow set epoxy so that I could do that, because I'm really going to have to hump to get after that, and I don't think I'm going to do that on camera for the simple fact I can't think and talk and move fast enough to do that. So I'll do that off camera. I don't want to make a mistake on that, because once that's screwed up, you're done. So now we're going to come back here. I like to have a bulkhead just ahead of the leading edge of the stabilizer. So we need to measure that. Leading edge of the stabilizer bulkhead is going to be 1 and 130 thousandths. So half of that would be 15. Be 65 thousandths. $650,000. Excuse me. Of course, I got to come back and put the push rod holes in these. So we need the height. Then the longeron marks. I was watching a YouTube video. NAS Miramar is now MCS Miramar, Marine Corps Station. Fightertown, USA is now turned into Marines. I guess that must have happened on the Obama cuts. Heck, I don't even know if Recruit Depot is open. Okay, so now we got this. This looks a little hefty, so I have to cut on the inside of the line. I can always take it off, but it's hard to put it back on. It's another thing. Instead of cutting away from you or cutting away from the part, cut towards the inside. That way you won't break it. I'm going to do exactly what it said not to do right here. But we got away with it. $650,000. So put a mark. 650,000. Man, I'm good. That fell right on the line. Perfect. One last bulkhead to make. 6 triangles. I think I can do that in the next 25 minutes. Let's see what said here. Have you done full sheeted wings? I have, Jack, but a full sheeted wing, what's the advantage to it? Carrying around a lot of extra wood for no reason. So we want to measure half the distance. And this is just approximate. So we got 11 and a quarter. So half of 11 and a quarter is going to be 5, 6, 5 and a half, 5 and 5/8. Five and 5/8. Close enough. So now we need to measure across, get the width of this bulkhead. just for giggles, we'll make it at 0. So it's come on, 1/800,000. So let's 1/800,000. Now I got to figure that out. 1/800,000 is the width. Half of one, so it's 900 thousandths to the center. 900 thousandths. For you guys that are younger, that are just watching this or whatever, I wasn't real big on math when I was a kid. Trig, calculus, all that stuff. But I'm working in a field now where the kids can't even read the tape measure. So my best advice to you is at least learn fractions. At least learn how to multiply, divide, and read a tape measure. And for God's sake, if you can take typing, do it. I wish the heck I would have. I thought, that's for girls. I don't want to take typing. Yeah, well, in today's age, you'll need it. I can type. But it's nowhere near the 60 words a minute or whatever the heck secretaries are doing. So here we need to make it the height. Yeah, it's for sissies. We don't need that. Yeah, okay. Okay. You know, speaking about learning things in school or whatever, the website Stunhanger is about a 15-year ongoing project. First I taught myself HTML, and I taught myself that by using a program, FrontPage. Now FrontPage was pretty intuitive. It kind of laid the HTML in there, and then you could go in and look at how the code was written, and I could figure it out. Well, then the server decided, well, we're not going to use front page extensions anymore. Meaning that I either have to learn another program or do something else. So I wanted the forum. See, what I'm trying to get at is everything's about desire. I wanted the forum so everybody could communicate. So I went and, searched the web and found these PHP programs, which is Simple Machines Forum. And how PHP works is it's not really a code, it's telling a story. It's PHP stands for Personal Home Page. And it's kind of a weird language. It's really strange. To me, anyway. So, I learned shortcuts on how to grab things out of the air. The guys that understand computers will know what I'm going to talk about. Torrents. How to grab things from midair. And that's how StuntHanger has evolved. If you look at other Simple Machines forum sites, they're nothing like StuntHanger. I mean, not even close. I still have issues from time to time where I need help, but there's not enough time in my lifetime to learn everything. There just isn't. Damn. That's got to be at the bottom. Okay. Okay, that's it. That's basically how I figure out how to lay out a fuselage from scratch. And each airplane's different, but they're all the same. It's a big Nobler with a different skirt on it. Big deal. It was my design. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. Not even close. So, recap. Using my method with the center lines, when I go to put this together, there'll be a 45 to that line at the trailing edge and a 45 to that line at the trailing edge of the stab, drawn this direction. And with the perfect fit wing plugs, you plug the wing in, you put the trailing edge on that line, and the trailing edge, it's got to be square. It's got to be right this way if it's laying completely down flat on the table, as long as the table's flat and square. And there's nothing worse than to see an airplane come around the circle and the wing and elevator aren't lined up. You go, oh man, that guy wasn't thinking. And I see it all the time, and by top guys too. Okay, we've come quite a ways this weekend. I mean, I didn't expect to get a whole lot done, because I got no room to keep this stuff anyway. I get another one piled in here. What am I going to do with it? Hang it from the ceiling, I guess. I'm going to have to start selling some of this stuff again. I sold that orange Junar. It's ready to fly right now, but we got... Hey, mister, how much one of those... Yeah, you bet, John. How much one of them cost? About 400 hours of elbow grease. You got any? Yeah. Yep, about 400 hours of elbow grease. So as I told you before, all this will have to be ground out with the Dremel. If I was over John's, I'd grind it on the belt sander, but I'm going to have to use a Dremel. That'll lighten it up some. I guess I could take the extension cord and stand outside and while away on them things. That'll take half an ounce off this. All that maple. Okay, well, I didn't make the 3 hours. I think 2 hours and 45 minutes. I'm going to shut it off. As I stated before, I think I'm probably going to glue the crutch in the fuselage off camera. I just can't. I have to pay attention. I've shown you how to jig this up where no harm, no foul, but I've been making so many mistakes like this and the crutch width and so on and so forth. I just don't want to mess this up, because if I mess that up, the airplane's done. This part's done. I'd have to start all over again. So anyway, I want to thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, share the videos, and we could be back. I could be back on later. No promises, but till I see you again, fair winds, tight lines. See ya.